Okay, this is Dr. Gunnar Neiders with one of his clients, and the topic of the day is self-esteem. Can you tell me what you understand by the terms self-esteem, conditional self-esteem, unconditional self-acceptance, conditional self-acceptance, and just being down on yourself for the hell of it?
Sure. Um, I think in my understanding, self-esteem in general refers to, I guess, how much you appreciate or value your own self, or how much you esteem your own self. So I think that's kind of a, a general definition. Um, so there's also a conditional self-esteem. So conditional self-esteem refers to I guess the idea of basing your self-esteem on things that you do. So, for example, when you do things that are in some sense bad, your self-esteem will decline or decrease. And when you do things that are in some sense good or that you deem to be valuable, your self-esteem will increase, and you will think more highly of yourself. There's also unconditional self-acceptance or unconditional self-esteem, whereby you don't choose to rate yourself based on your specific actions. You instead choose to just rate the actions themselves without also using the actions to then give a global rating to yourself. So basically, you choose to like and accept your entire self, and you are basically, in some sense, regardless of your actions, and you just judge or rate the actions themselves as good or bad without then generalizing and rating your entire self or being based on your individual actions.
May I interrupt a moment?
Yeah.
What are the, or what is the ordinary screw up which people who stutter seem to have?
Well, I mean, I think there are many, but I think that one that relates to self-esteem would be that many people who stutter will often kind of down or criticize their entire selves just because they stutter. And so this is the flaw of, again, of rating or downing your entire self just based on specific the things that you do or certain actions that you do.
Is there any absolutistic standards that you can establish for self-esteem, like we have the uh, speed of light? It's absolute.
Right. I would say no. I mean, I think there's no way to define or to quantify or quantitatively define human value or worth. We have no objective agreed upon means to judge whether human A is better or worse than human B, just as humans. And we certainly have no way of kind of quantitatively valuing individual actions and then somehow adding those values together to determine the overall value of a certain human. So really, it's basically impossible to measure in an objective way what a human's worth or value is.
How do you regard yourself? You know, there is Some people have positive self-regard or self-esteem or self-acceptance, and some have negative or variable. What is it that you tell yourself in a thumbnail when you get into a kind of a bind and don't feel that good about yourself? How do you unravel that mess?
Sure. I think that what I now basically do is I try to separate kind of what I've done or the action from myself. So I try to, so say if I've done something that is in some sense bad or it's something that I didn't really want to do or whatever, basically now I will try to just evaluate the action itself without then over generalizing and saying to myself that because I did this bad thing, therefore I am a bad person. So yeah, so basically I'll just do that, and I will try to figure out how I can improve, so that I can maybe not do that bad thing again. Um, but yeah, but again, I don't kind of stoop to the level of downing my entire being based on an individual action.
So each morning when you wake up, I think you ought to choose your thoughts the way you choose your outfit that you're going to wear.
Yeah.
And I choose my thoughts. I say, hey, I am I make mistakes. I'm a forever fallible, messed up human being, but I choose to like myself. Is there something similar that you could say to yourself every morning you woke up?
Yeah, I definitely like the I think it's the Albert Ellis quote where he says, "We are all forever fallible, messed up human beings," as you just said. That one I can definitely agree with, and I think that that's a good way of reminding myself that I'm not perfect. No one is perfect, and I am basically bound or destined to make mistakes as a human. And so I should not expect that I will not make mistakes. And when I do, I should almost say to myself, well, I'm human, so that was kind of supposed to happen in some sense. Or, I mean, it's not some terrible thing that I made a mistake.
So if you do make a mistake, is there anything you do or say to yourself, or um, how do you snap out of it if there's any moment of feeling a bit down?
Sure. Yeah, so I think like now when I make a mistake, I will basically first of all, again, try to separate myself from the mistake and just try to view the mistake as as kind of its own individual thing, and not something that defines the entirety of who I am. And so yeah, so I'll say something to myself like, I made a mistake or I did a bad thing, but that does not make me a bad person. And then from there, once I've decided not to down my whole self because of one undesirable action, I will then try to evaluate the action by itself, and then figure out how to not do that again, or to figure out, what I did wrong and how to fix it and things like that.
Yeah, that is very sane.